we're basically the sad guys that come in on a Friday like today, but also me and you hang out on Mondays when no one else is around.
Yeah, I think there's a word for that, isn't there? I can't quite remember what it is. It's probably not really safe to share here, but yeah.
Well, I was thinking like Tuesday to Thursday is TW and T, which you can work out for yourself. But we're the Monday and Friday guys. We're the MFs.
Yeah, let's call this the Friday in the Office podcast.
Yeah, which is why we've got this whole place to ourselves, though, because
it's the only day we can actually do it.
Yeah, during the week it's crazy. It's too many people, but we can use the voice pod for recording our podcasts. We can use the meeting room. It's like a little playground for us.
It is, and it's quiet. We won't name them, but certain individuals in the team can be quite loud.
Yeah,
they're not here, so it should be nice and quiet in the background.
Yeah, we're the sad guys who are in charge of the ship, so it's great.
Yeah.
We learn so much on Business Leader because we're meeting entrepreneurs every week. That's why I love the job, because you're just learning all the time. So what have you learned this week, Graham?
What have I learned this week? That is a good question. Coincidentally, but like the common theme has been coming up in a lot of the interviews I've been doing recently, which is about health and well-being and how health is foundational to high performance, but also being motivated is the only way to actually get the most out of yourself. So I did the podcast episode on Tuesday with a guy called John Blakey, who is an author and executive coach. And he says he used to think that performance was all about ability times opportunity. And now he's convinced it's motivation times ability times opportunity. And the reason he thinks that is just what he's learned over the years from meeting different people, but also being exposed to the world of sport. So he's been doing some coaching with people who were in the Olympics, Premier League players and coaches, and English cricket as well. And he says it's like a given in sport that to get the most out of yourself, to perform at the very highest level, you've got to be motivated and you've got to believe and be purpose-led effectively. And that, when he says that, that's right, that's clearly right. But I think in the business world, I think that is still a really untapped resource. And so the podcast then was about trying to figure out how that can be used as a resource. And he has this concept of radiators and drains, where you think about what gives you energy and lifts you up in a day, that's a radiator, and what drags you down, which is a drain. And basically trying to make sure you have more radiators in your working life and less drains.
In my own little way, I have, I suppose I implement that, even though I'm not a great entrepreneur, but I brought exercise into my life. Like, I'm quite addicted to jogging now since COVID and lockdowns, and definitely I've seen my performance at work go up just because I feel not only physically fitter, but kind of just mentally better in shape as well.
That's not because you're running, that's because I know you listen to our podcast while you're doing your run.
Yeah, on very slow runs when I don't want to overexert myself. That's when I listen to you. Okay, so the thing I learned this week was I went to meet a very interesting entrepreneur, a woman who set up a company called By Rotation. And what it does is it lets people through a digital platform rent their clothes. So I hadn't thought that anyone would do that, but I suppose it's a bit like Airbnb, idle assets, rent your house when you're not using it. Why not make some money? Same thing with your clothes. You might have a very expensive dress. It's women on this platform. So you have this dress that you've bought for a special occasion, sitting in your wardrobe doing nothing. Why not rent it out and let you make some money? And I thought that was interesting. And speaking to the woman behind it, she was saying it's become almost like a social platform because women really take pleasure in seeing other women shine in their clothes and learning the stories about, what occasion did they wear it on, how did it make them feel. And that was the kind of unexpected direction she had to take the business in, let people share stories after having done the clothes. But I don't know, I'm not sure if I could do it myself. Like, for example, I've got my favorite jacket on today. Would I lend it to you? I'm not sure I would actually, sorry about that.
Thanks a lot, Dougal. What about after you've worn it enough that you don't want to wear it anymore?
Once everyone in the office knows it's kind of done its time with me, maybe I would. No, I don't know. I just feel quite attached to it.
I think this is a really fascinating and growing industry because we've both been doing stuff with IKEA, and one of the things I talked about with them was this buyback thing that they're doing. So in the UK, in the last financial year, more than 50,000 people returned products to IKEA that were then sold on, or the materials were reused. And that, to me, feels like an industry that remains completely untapped. And one where there is clearly a demand from both the company side, hitting sustainability targets, but also why it can really work is like, why wouldn't you do that as a customer? You've got something you don't want to use anymore. Here's a chance to make some money out of it. And it's one of those things where it can be a real win-win for business and consumer.
And at the moment, I mean, I've sold a lot of IKEA stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I've bought it there as well. So it's in their interests when that is taking place anyway to move it in-house and let them be part of it. So there's a massive untapped potential in owning those secondary markets because so much is happening that way. And in terms actually of clothes, the big one is Vinted, as you've probably seen, and Depop as well, that there's a massive industry now and people going around looking for clothes to sell in vintage shops, which in a way is good. You've got a lot of young people doing it in their early teens, and it's kind of teaching them about entrepreneurship, what it means to grow a small business. I'll see you again on Monday when it's nice and quiet again, and Tuesday we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, indeed. I'll see you on Monday.